finally decided to start vlogging. A lot of goals this year. Yeah, a lot's happened, I think, in the last couple of years. Started working full time. Yeah, no, I just feel like I want more. I'm gonna track my progress every single day. You can see here my condition, not really the best. I'm gonna go homeless until we hit 100K in revenue at least. Last couple of days has just been research, market research, and I think I found a product that I really like. I feel like it'll work because of like my passion. It's something that matches my passion, I feel. So I'm gonna start, looking into ads, start learning meta ads, TikTok ads, seeing where that takes us. One big struggle here is that I'm working full-time as a software engineer. I did graduate last year, trying to film it till Q4. Hopefully December we have some big gains. And yeah, I'm in the Mini Cooper right now. Let's see what car I'm gonna be in a couple of months. Just pulled up to the gym right now. I don't know if you can see it. I get my updates there for this entire journey. We're currently at 300,000 revenue in the last 2 months, and we're consistently growing. So let's see how it goes. This is what e-commerce probably looks like too. Everyone thinks it's easy money, but you're actually creating a business from scratch. The journey I've had over the last 2 years, as I've become an addict to this entire model, is something that I've gotten so many DMs and messages about. People asking me, how I did it, for advice, people even asking me to build their entire brand, hoping that I'll be able to hit the same levels for them that I did for myself multiple times, all while carrying a full-time job as a software engineer. And because of all that outreach, I thought it was finally time to sit down and kind of take you guys through this entire journey with me. I really want to do a deep dive in this entire game because number one, I love it, and number two, I'm very passionate about it. And I also see how other YouTubers don't really dig into the risks associated with it and how crazy it can really get at scale. Like, you are essentially carrying an entire business on your back, right? So there's a lot of like roadblocks, a lot of problems, a lot of things that really aren't in your control, and that can be frustrating. And I really want to talk about that. Also, I noticed that there's a lot of solutions that I deployed to scale a lot of brands to above 6 figures that I don't necessarily see on YouTube, and I kind of want to touch on that as well. So despite all the roadblocks, I think I've come to the conclusion that this is something that I'd want to do for the rest of my life. So sit back, enjoy the roller coaster. I'm about to give you guys a very transparent look into what it's like to scaling a brand to 2.5 million in just a year. So now that I've had a chance to kind of like take a breath and kind of like cool down from all this scaling, I've decided that I want to talk about my journey. The ups, the downs, the insane downs, and I really want you guys to see what the entire experience is like from like ideation to like execution. And then I want you guys to make that decision for yourselves. Like, is this right for you? Just know that it's a marathon. Like, it looks very flashy online, but really it's very lonely. It's very expensive. And anyone that says that you could do it without a full-time job or some type of like financial backing is just lying to you. Like, that's not possible. And I also want to talk about the dangers of scale, because finding the winning product is just one thing. Now, when it comes to scale, the product, the platform, the IP isn't really yours. So there's a lot of risk there. And that can be very taxing because you can get frustrated at how out of control you can be at so many points in the game. But if you're persistent and you're always testing and you're always down to pivot and you don't get discouraged, there is a lot of money to be made. The high that you can get from just like sitting and playing video games or, watching TV and just see like money pour into your account. Like, I'll talk about that entire like addiction and how it took over me. That feeling is irreplaceable to this day. And I'll even show you guys my product in this video. Here's a quick little teaser for you guys. I'm gonna blur this out, but damn, this is what got me to 7 figures. Along with a bunch of other failed products that I have collected all in my basement, but yeah. So let's get started. I'm a software engineer working a full-time job. Things are remote, things are very cool. And this is pre-AI boom, so everything is pretty chill. And I'm, pretty proud. I'm having a good time, I'm chilling. But yeah, I feel like my journey actually started in my previous YouTube channel where I was making video essays about like movies and video games that I really like. I had a couple of pretty good videos and one that took off like a lot, and I still make money off of it to this day. What's cool is that video was about Mike Wazowski, and the guy that voiced Mike Wazowski actually commented on that channel, so that was pretty cool to see. But this entire experience of like making a YouTube video from ideation to like execution was, I feel like, very important as I got into e-commerce. It taught me a lot of transferable skills, things like video editing, understanding thumbnails, metrics like CTR, CPC, things like that. And these were all things that really played into my success and the scale that I was able to reach. So one day I'm scrolling through YouTube and I'm, just seeing what's up, and I see this video, and I'm sure you guys have seen it too. This dude is this dude. I grew up with this guy. Seeing all of this really had me shook, because a year ago, this guy was in my dorm learning data science alongside me. First of all, I was so happy to see that, and I was so inspired because he just went missing for like a year. He grinded it out and he became a millionaire, and that was amazing to see. And as soon as I saw that, I'm like, I really want to do this. Like, I want to see like what the potential is here. That's amazing. So I jumped right into it, and I feel like that's a big reason why it worked, is because when I see something, I just have to give it a shot, right? No matter what it is, right? Music, movies, I don't really care. So I just jumped into it and I just executed right away. And I feel like that's one thing that a lot of people like in this e-com game struggle with. There'll be an analysis paralysis for like a long time, just, you know, researching and seeing what to do, but then be too worried to get started. And like the issue is this game might not work the first time or the second time, right? Your products might fail. And that's when like, oh wow, this thing doesn't work, right? But like you have to be, number one, persistent, and you have to execute every time until it works. So I started obviously with a little bit of research, you know, watching tutorials, understanding the meta ad platform, understanding ads, understanding creatives, understanding angles, and like just trying to understand how the entire game works as a whole. And I feel like the one thing that came very easy to me, and I don't see many people talking about this, and it's like a mindset I'd recommend before getting into this game, is to really fall in love with these platforms, these tools like Shopify, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Like really try and appreciate them for what they are. Like think about like how they're literally at our fingertips and how you can achieve scale pretty easily, something that you couldn't do like 30 years ago. And how we as marketers can bend these platforms to our will and really utilize them to their max potential. I feel like the narratives of, you know, hating tech, which I get, just don't help when you're into this game. I think you really need to fall in love and appreciate these platforms first before you can get started, whether that be Google, Meta, Pinterest, TikTok, whatever. Because if you love these platforms, you will remain curious and you will try your best to understand them better. And as a result, use them better. So that's exactly what I did, right? I took a couple of weeks to really just understand the system and how marketers track the data, CTR, CPC, CPM, and how they all kind of like weave together to tell like a story. And I also built a very strong understanding of like the front end and what a site should look like, how branded, how trustworthy it should feel, and how you should set up funnels so that a customer, once they enter your site, they are guided to a purchase. They feel that emotion, they feel that alignment that, hey, this product was made for me. And then obviously you want them to check out and give you money, and that is an entire psychology study. You always want to sell a feeling, and you want to set up your funnel so that they check out the highest value possible, because the more margins you have, the more you can scale. You know, maybe you want to entice them with offers. Maybe you want to discount multiple items so that they purchase more. And we haven't even spoken about the entire LTV game, which is just insane. You know, like how do you keep this customer coming back? Like how do you build that relationship with them? Which is literally a model that so many brands live off of. Like they aren't profitable at the first sale, but they bet on the fact that they will be profitable in the future. There's just so much to learn in this entire game. And this is just the front end. Like I haven't even spoken about all the untapped methods that I don't see anyone on YouTube talking about. You know, that I just found by being addicted online and just like scraping through every website that I could find. Like learning new things, research tools, and talking to some very big experts in the field. Like, you know, wholesale dropshipping or USA dropshipping, you know, experimenting with different offers. Like everyone says, oh, change your offer, but like what exactly should you change? You know, I'm gonna dig into all of that. Now comes the back end, right? And I don't wanna bore you guys because this isn't a tutorial video. I just really wanna set a foundation so you guys understand what I'm talking about. So dropshipping is literally just a business model where you are the middleman and it's your job to find a product that you think would appeal to the mass market. You need to set up relationships with manufacturers and agents in China and essentially market the crap out of whatever product that you think will work on Google, Meta, Pinterest, TikTok, because the audiences on these platforms are just insane. And Google, Meta, TikTok, they know who your buyers will be if you feed them the right creative and the right angle. And there's a whole studying process on what product is saturated, on what platform, and that's what we do before getting into the product game. Now, once you've launched your ads, a customer sees the product, purchases it, and then it's all up to your back end. Now, once an order comes through on your branded website, it's your job to find the best product that you can sell them in China that will make the customer happy. And then you ship it from China to America. And you want to make sure that you support them through that journey. You don't just want to sell it and like vanish, because what's going to happen then is a bunch of problems. Because if you sell a bad product or just leave the customer service part, the customer is just going to hit you with some chargebacks, which means that they can literally go to their credit card and be like, this product is not good, this seller is not good, and you lose the money plus a $15 fee. And as your chargebacks build up, could lose your Shopify account, your Amazon account, your whatever, and your entire business could be shut down in just a matter of weeks. And there have been so many times where my money has just been held. I've had 100K just held by Shopify as we're trying to prove that we're good sellers, and that's the type of stuff that we have to deal with. So in summary, the way I like to see it is that dropshipping is a relatively low risk, at least at the start, where you can test your product and see if there's an appeal for it. And you could gauge the potential without holding inventory. And the idea is the right way to do it is that once you found your winning product, you want to brand it. And when I say branding, it doesn't mean just throw a box on it. It means that you want to talk to your agent and try and improve the product as much as you can. And then you want to sell a premium experience to your customer so that they don't go anywhere else. Because as I was scaling, and I'll show you guys this, I saw my exact product, exact brand, exact website ripped off completely. But really, that's literally just part of the game. Anyways, now that you guys have a pretty core understanding of what it is we do, let's get into my journey. So of course, it's a learning process and I can't wait to show you guys some of my early stuff. But honestly, it was kind of fun. Like, we found some products that I'll go over. Like, my first product was this crochet bouquet that we selected for Valentine's Day, and that was the first mistake that we made because, like, never go seasonal. Why would you go seasonal? Like, once that season ends, why would a customer purchase from you? It was more like a learning period for me because, like, I was able to understand how the Meta Ads platform works, how Shopify works, you know, how to create like a Meta Ads account, how to monitor campaigns, how the entire process works. And of course, you know, ideating and, you know, seeing what competitors are doing and trying and applying that for your brand and your business. And of course, how to fulfill orders on time and avoid chargebacks. And we actually made $800 of revenue for our first store, which is not bad at all. And so I tried the same thing with my next store. It was called Stanley Buddies, and the idea was to capitalize on the Stanley Cup trend. And we started taking more professional pictures, you know, trying to make more ads that kind of resonated with the target audience or demographic. And yeah, that one didn't work. The margins were just too small and there wasn't enough mass market desire to kind of sell that product. And I know people say the product doesn't matter, that the angle or the creative matters, but I don't know. I feel like it's just much easier of a scale when you actually find a product that people are like, oh, I need this right now, and have that wow factor. And then we moved to cramp pads that we tried some more UGC for, and we built like a site around it, and it did, you know, maybe a couple sales here or there. And then one beautiful day, I'm scrolling through my TikTok burner account and I see this product right there in all of its magnificence. And one really cool thing is the box that it comes with is actually pretty well made, and I think that's really important for a product that you're selling. Like, pretty good branding for a white label product. The first thought that I had was like, wow. So you already know the wow factor is there. And then I'm like, I want this for me. So that desire is there. And then I'm like, I need this right now. And that's when I'm like, oh, the impulse is there. I need this product. That's when I knew this was a winner. And essentially what this device is that it's a retro gaming device where you can play any console, any retro console, PSP, DS, Game Boy, whatever. And I was like, I just love this. Like, I want this for myself. And I noticed that the other marketers weren't targeting the angles that I would necessarily target. Like, they weren't showing the consoles or games to its full potential. And I know this market, like I grew up with this market. I grew up with video games and I still keep up with them. You know, and I instantly thought about like so many questions and so many features, right? Like the fact that you can add any retro game that you want, like the fact that you can play games like Spyro, like Crash Bandicoot, all these classics. That was what I really wanted to show off with this product. And that's when I'm like, I think I could do a very good job with this guy. So I hope as I'm talking through this, you guys are understanding that entire process of finding your winner, what it should feel like as you're progressing forward. Finding the winning product is really just the start. As soon as you start to scale, that's where things get very, very insane. And keep in mind that I was working a full-time job during this whole process and tackling crazy projects. So you really need financial backing to make this work, or you need a lot of persistence throughout the entire process. There are just so many transaction fees that you're gonna experience. So you really need the money to keep that going. You know, there's Shopify fees, transaction costs, fulfillment costs. Maybe the platform like Shopify holds your money and you can't pay your supplier. Maybe you don't have enough credit to scale. And I'll dig into all that because I want to give as much transparency and value as possible in this video. So I'll get back to the product. So I've sourced it with AutoDS and you'll see how that really bites me later. But we've sourced it. We've set up a pretty trashy site. And what's interesting is that I did some research on YouTube and I saw that the reviews were only a month old. And if you're first to the market with a new product, there is a lot of potential there. It's a fully untapped market. And through my research, I noticed that there is an older version of this product with very good creatives on TikTok. It's a similar product, but not the same product. So I ripped those creatives, I copied them because I knew that those posts were working and I advertised this as a version 2. And then I also ripped off those YouTube videos and just started editing all videos like crazy. I just started going crazy with the edits. I tried to make as many creatives as I could. And within the first day of posting, I got my first couple sales. And just like that, the train took off. The way the Meta algorithm picked up on our creatives and just threw them at people. Our Instagram grew so fast, our business grew so fast, and our customer base did as well because those creatives were so good. But as soon as the train took off, the problems came right away. We scaled up so fast in that first month where our credit cards just got capped. Like we weren't able to keep up with the demand. Shopify held our money. We couldn't pay the agent. We couldn't pay our suppliers in China. And our ads just kept printing and printing and printing money to the point where we had to scale down. and pause our ads just so we wouldn't get purchases because we couldn't keep up with the demand. AutoDS would crash. It would literally not work with the amount of orders that we had. The AliExpress suppliers that we tried to communicate with just said we didn't have any stock left. And this is where credit cards are so important in this game. You have to scale up slowly and carefully, especially when you're using Amex, because if they see this much scale and they don't trust you as a merchant, then they'll just ban your card or they'll just put a hold on your card and then you're stuck there. So you have to scale up carefully and make sure that you have enough credit, because what we were doing was we were just trading credit. I was just trading credit cards with family members and trying to make sure that I could keep up with the demand. And you have to build a lot of healthy credit over time. And you have to even call your bank and tell them, hey, I'm starting a business and I need you to not cap my credit cards. And then what could happen is if your credit cards are capped, Meta doesn't like that you didn't pay, and bam, your whole ad account is gone. But it felt so addicting. Like any small change that I would make was the equivalent to making thousands of dollars the next day. I scaled to 2,000 in ad spend, 4,000 in ad spend, 6,000, 8,000, and then we were doing $10,000 in ad spend in just a couple of months. I went crazy on the creatives because I knew exactly who my customers were. I was the customer. And because I was the customer, I advertised different games. I tried to target different people in different gaming pockets. Gifting angles, Nintendo angles, Sony angles, games for girls, games for your son, games for your dad. And through my advertising, influencers organically reached out. Like Akon reached out. Chamak Chalo Akon reached out. And we even have a video of him endorsing our device. That was insane to see.
It's here, baby.
The retro pixel.
Yes, sir.
My man's a gamer.
Yeah, I'm an old school gamer.
Got all the old school games on the air.
How many is it? Over how many?
Like 50,000.
Ooh, and it's all white. Oh, hell yeah, dude. Now we live.
We updated and branded the site even more, and more orders kept coming in. I added more products, I added more SKUs to my business, and they were selling out even before I had finished making the page. And once I saw that consistency, I started to brand the product, I started to improve it, I started to do research on what my customers didn't like about the product and tried to improve it in every way I could. I added stickers, I made a new box. Like I would literally be watching The Flash or some TV show or playing some video games, and I just made my monthly salary in just a day. That's the scale that we hit and that you potentially could hit in just a couple of months. And it was literally all mine. I was doing 20K days. What could go wrong? When you scale up that fast and it's your first time, you lose yourself. Like you are not able to keep up mentally with that change of lifestyle, I feel. Think about the Sabrina Carpenter effect here because it's such an interesting story of scale. Like I saw a video on it, it was very cool. Like basically Sabrina Carpenter took about like 5 to 10 years to blow up, right? And her early years were pretty challenging, but she had practiced so much by the time her that Juno album came out that she was able to gracefully handle that scale. And that's something that's just so cool to see, that she practiced and she learned so much over her failures that when she finally blew up, she was able to maintain that scale and become that pop star. Like I was so high off that notification sound, like cha-ching, cha-ching. Like I'll keep my phone on my ear and just sleep next to it and then wake up to those notification sounds as well. I think I saw a YouTuber doing that and I want to try it, and I was just that high. And this is where everyone started asking me like, oh, how'd you do that? Like I started getting DMs, my LinkedIn was flooded, and I stopped being cautious. Like I stopped pulling money out and I was just chasing growth like crazy. And all I did was reinvest into the business. I took very little out for myself. I branded that entire product. I ordered inventory. I started hiring agencies for Google ads, email marketing that were charging $8,000 to $13,000 a month. I was just dropping that. And I wasn't doing the best job of tracking my finances. And that's one thing that I'll recommend to you guys. Have your finances tracked from the start. Get that triple account, set up your triple pixel, and make sure that you're profitable every single day, because Meta or Google, they don't track properly. But regardless, we were scaling, and boom, we get hit with this email. When I'm fully invested with so much money in escrow, our Shopify product pages go down. You guys can imagine how scary that entire experience was. Everything that I spent maybe 15 to 16 hours a day building just going down. I quickly duplicated all the products and I pivoted as quickly as I could. And I tried to find whatever solution I could find to fix this. So Shopify didn't like how we had pictures of Mario, Zelda, all those characters. So we quickly took them off our site and appealed. Thankfully, it went through. But then a week later, I received a DM from a customer saying that our product was being ripped off by another site. I'm so dumb. I reported that site to Shopify. Shopify took a close look at both of our sites and they just took both down. And I'm like, oh my God. Because that other site literally took our entire design, took all of our product pictures, and we both got shut down. As this was was happening, I was still kind of reliant on AutoDS, and that whole thing just kept crashing. That's when I switched to an actual agent that was able to fulfill orders, and that's when things got a little bit easier. But our Shopify site still went down. So I freaked out, but I obviously pivoted again. So I duplicated the entire store, changed the domain, changed the brand, and thankfully I was able to scale up all over again. And this is what it's like to run a business, high stakes. Anything could go down, especially in e-commerce, because you don't really own anything. You're dependent on the platforms. You have insane money invested, and sometimes that money is just stuck in escrow. Like, it's not in your hands, it's held by someone. You have credit card bills coming in, you have suppliers to pay, and your money's still stuck. Paying suppliers, paying agencies, if you're not tracking all of that, it can get very, very dangerous. And what's even crazier is you can't control the world. So world events do play into this, and I'll totally dig into that. So after all that, we somehow made it to Q4, and the amount of times I duplicated the entire store and set it back up again and started scaling again was insane. The amount of pressure I was already under in my job, and also handling like 10 to 20K dollars in transactions daily, I was going crazy, but I was still kind of living in that stimulation. Your kind of like personality, your persistence, your drive really matters in this game, because you're gonna be hit on the head multiple times, and you just gotta be like, okay, how do I fix this, and how do I keep going? And so by early Q4, I have an email agency ready, I have a Google agency ready, and I have a Meta agency doing its thing. I'm dropping thousands on these guys, so I have a lot of bills to pay, and I have an inventory of 1,000+ units just sitting in China. And I'm trying my best to hold it all together with all of these notices from Shopify and meta warnings and agency costs. And I'm just hoping that I can pull through till BFCM, which is Black Friday, Cyber Monday, where e-commerce businesses make about 60% of their revenue. And I'm betting on the fact that I'll make it very, very big and exit. And everything was kind of set up for that. And this was near the end of 2024, when all the elections were happening, and, the Donald Trump and Kamala Harris stuff was happening. And this is October, November time. And all of us in e-commerce, my Google agency, my Meta agency, my email marketing agency, noticed a big spike in CPMs, which basically means that everyone's ad performance kind of dropped and it was harder to bid. And why is that? Well, that's because when Mr. Trump and Miss Harris are getting ready for elections, their campaign teams drop millions and millions of dollars on Meta ads, on Google ads, and just make it very hard for anyone in e-commerce to bid on any ads. And it's fully out of our control. Like, we can't compete with that. And at the same time, I have multiple agencies that built brands like Backbone reaching out to me. I have influencers hitting my line, asking me where their products are because they have lives ready to go. And I was even giving testimonials for some agencies because of my brand. And that's the scale that I was hitting on a daily basis. And I'm managing all of that. I'm shipping out orders. I'm making more ads. I'm planning strategy, and I'm also balancing my full-time job. And things are getting closer and closer to BFCM weekend, and I'm feeling better. Things are kind of picking up. I built this entire brand out just for this period, just for this weekend. And I wanted to do it in the best way. And the night before BFCM, I'm in my bed, I'm ready to sleep, I'm ready to get up to hundreds of notifications, ready to hear all of those, cha-ching, 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 hundreds of customers buying my product. I'm excited to hit that 100K day. Everything that I've built was literally for this moment. Right before I sleep, I see one notification pop up, one email, then 5, then 10, then 20, then 30 emails, all from Nintendo. The day of BFCM, all of my ads went down. My Shopify store went down right before I slept. Like, I couldn't even sleep. I couldn't even wake up to it. Like, it happened right before I slept. And I don't really know how I got through that. Like, it was a very humbling experience. And I hope you guys can learn from that. This is kind of the reality of running an online business. You have to keep kind of going. You have to pivot. But I was very much so devastated. The only thought I had was like, what now? Like, everything went down right on BFCM. And that was probably the lowest point of my life, I would say. Like, I did make money, I did get a car, bought watches, I did all that cool stuff. And I did appeal to Nintendo and even duplicated my store to try and get it going again. But that entire momentum that I was building for, that entire kind of like game that I played, that branding that I built was kind of all gone. And that's kind of really all I cared about, like that kind of process of building everything, and it was just taken from me. And to show you guys how real the risk is, this was my bill after BFCM, just because I had to make that money back to pay BFCM. Thankfully, I had revenue to pay from, but still, like, you can see the risk here. But then at my lowest point, that's when something really interesting happened in 2025. But that's for another time. If you guys like this video, be sure to like and subscribe. It tells me that you guys want to see more, and I'm here for that. Now, after scaling that last brand and so many more brands ever since then, I partnered up with Kashan here, and he's been in the game since 2020. So what we're trying to do is really trying to build a community around the 2026 exit. We are scaling up a new brand and a couple of other brands as well. And we kind of want to just do it with a bunch of people watching us doing it live, showing you guys how it's done, all the tips and tricks. And this is our community already. It's grown to 700 members, right? We have, lots of interaction, lots of great building, lots of people already partnering up together, building their first stores, right? And you can see in our classroom, the feedback we've gotten is that we should be creating like an intro course. A lot of people just want to know how to get started. And so we've created an introductory course, and we're looking to expand that as people give us feedback, right? And we're really trying to tap into the fundamental level, right? What are the business and marketing fundamentals behind everything that we do in e-commerce, everything that we do in dropshipping? We're really trying to get away from this get rich quick mentality. That is what our community is based off of, right? What are the skills that you need to scale this to a 7-figure business, right? It's a business, treat it like a business, and you will see success. Here's one of the cool modules that are coming out, right? It's going to be totally free. One of my UI UX friends is working on this sick module on AI visuals for e-commerce, the importance of UI UX, especially in your funnel, especially on your site. What does that look like? And how do you optimize for conversions? This is just the first of many modules that we'll be releasing. So hope to see you guys in the school community. And we also have a mentorship program. We only take 5 students a month. So let us know if you're interested. It has to be the right fit. And we have to see if you're able to execute and if you're ambitious enough to really carry this forward, because it's not a done for you service. We want you guys to learn the fundamentals the same way we did, by making mistakes, right? And we made mistakes at the 7-figure level. We've had multiple exits by now, right? So if you guys are interested, check it out. The link is in my bio. It's totally free to join, right? And hope to see you guys in there. See ya.